any changes to the agenda?
I don't have any.
No.
Okay, perfect. Public comment? There's lots of you. Just here to listen, okay. Hey. Community updates, the welcome signs, how's that coming? Let's take a peek at those. You got some quotes.
Yeah, we got 3 different quotes come back in December. I think the biggest question on that is how are we paying?
It's the question for everything. Didn't have this in ARPA originally? Northern Park
I
stuff?
have a fourth on that, but I think the final answer was no, right? Or do we have a set aside amount?
I don't know. I haven't seen her latest.
This is the latest.
I think it was.
I thought I recall this was coming out of the sidewalk fund from North Hyde Park.
Ah,
Yes, I was thinking of sidewalk fund.
That's what
That's,
I think when Ron was part of that, that's what he said, there was money in that sidewalk.
yes,
yeah,
Thought that's what I recalled this being.
nothing specifically allocated to anything, it's just sidewalk period. It's never-
Right, but it's- yeah.
But they used it in those sorts of things before.
The reserve fund or what, sidewalk reserve,
Yeah.
yeah.
yep. Mhm. So do we don't need to vote. Nothing, not yet?
Yeah, I can get updated quotes from them just to know that the ball's rolling, see if there's any changes to it.
Okay,
Confirm that's the sidewalk reserve fund and then prepare to move forward at the next meeting.
perfect. Yep, sounds good. Monthly newsletter. Well, I'm gonna be picky. I make the font all the same.
The whole way through everywhere. Okay,
Well, maybe not the things, but.
not
I was
sectioned
reading
out.
it. I don't know, yeah. I think I got lost. My being too picky, my being too picky. I don't want to say anything.
I'm here for Hyde Park resident feedback. You're a Hyde Park resident, so.
But I love all the detail, it's awesome. Okay, are you hearing anything from anybody about it? Do people
Thanks,
getting
a lot of
it?
thank yous.
Oh, good, good. Is there a big email list? Or not really?
There is, I think there's definitely over 70. And I think we may be pushing 100.
I did think of something, the Opera House, did we reach out to them?
No, I get that information usually through Nicole.
Oh, okay,
127.
nice, okay. Oh, that's great. Okay, highway. Mark can get out of here.
Paving,
Yes, Peggy's first.
payment, I recommend go with the lowest bidder, which was Hutchins. At 84, 85 a ton. So we've had good luck with it in the past.
It's in.
It's in your packet.
Yeah.
Which with that being said, we're probably going to do another contract, called cuts. Because we give a good price on culvert after they couldn't. We didn't have the measurements of all of them, and we, we're up here doing a bit on it.
Okay.
And now it would be more of an 8-foot set culvert here, and 8-foot whatever on the side of the other. I think that's gonna be around $100 a ton for each.
Have you always gone with the pay for?
100 per ton as the final overall prices per ton, or an additional 100 per ton,
So for the handwork, I think it's 100 per ton.
an additional 100. Thank you.
When can they get started?
Well, they told me as soon as they get it signed back from them, they'll talk about schedule. Talk schedule, so they have something signed. So you're not on the schedule.
Those devils.
But I get, oh, they take care of it, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah. And no, I'm not.
Hey. Can we get a motion?
I move to accept the bid from Hutchins for the paving. It's the amount.
Of 84, 85 per ton.
Yeah, there you go.
For a second?
I'll second it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Cool. You can let them know.
Roadside mowing, we've had 2 people who are interested, both backed out.
Oh.
So we've been trying to do it, I only have 3 seconds. Fill in here and there, and I don't know, people. We were talking today about maybe doing 1 pass on the smaller roads and doing 2 passes on the high traffic roads, just trying to get around because we're not getting on as quick as we used to.
Yeah. You're down someone too now, so.
You know, I don't, my own, too.
Okay. Probably not worth posting. At this point in time,
Yeah, so I haven't,
I mean, I'm already dead, I guess.
I don't, you can take an ad on the paper, if you're interested, it might be a long term.
We
Like
could.
next year, you know, they could finish up this year and come back next year, maybe. Or we can keep plugging away.
I would say, you can keep plugging away, we could always put it in the newsletter and we could just maybe put it on our Facebook page.
I think, yeah, I think just keep it in the newsletter.
Yeah,
I would.
then that way,
Idea.
yeah, then we're not spending any money on the ad or anything. Just see if there's any interest.
So we're trying to get all the blacktop, light traffic, and
Sure.
high speed goes down first.
Okay.
You know, we can start.
Okay.
Getting around.
Perfect.
Want in the newsletter, report form and Facebook, or just newsletter?
Why don't we do all? Okay, well, and do you want them to reach out to you?
Sure.
Okay. But in the meantime, obviously. At your discretion. Okay. Do we need an action item? You said possible.
Nothing to employ.
It's all good. Okay, the ATV ordinance, did you guys have a chance to peek at that?
Yep.
The little change, yeah, little changes,
Yeah, I
changes,
think it's not a little change,
but adding on the roads.
right, I'd like to. Because I missed that meeting, because I had my family from Tucson for the day.
Oh.
And when I read the minutes, it just didn't register, they're making that kind of a large change. And when I read the minutes. Again, I went, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, that's a big change. And everybody, and I personally, I really don't know how I feel about it. But I do know how I feel about making a major change in a road policy and that isn't well publicized and the public gets to know about it. Because we know what a controversial that issue has been in all the towns around us, so. I would, and we've done very well as we've sort of pieced it together and worked with them. And there was periodically, a lot of people were basically, comfortable with the way we had. So just for me, I mean, that's fine, you guys go ahead and do it, but I'm like, oh.
It's really not a lot of roads,
It's
it's very minor,
like Center Road, you're only adding 500 feet of it, it's already there.
right,
It's just, you're just going my side of it.
right, my side of
All-
it,
I could-
Dirt roads were open anyway.
Yeah.
Right, I know the dirt roads were open.
Right.
And half of the.
I can tell you that I'd much rather 90% of these respectful ATV riders over, I've got a kid that's going by with a crotch rocket. And I can tell you
It's
that
like all over town.
nothing's done about that, and
Yeah,
he's
right.
10 times more disrespectful and he's legal. So these guys are, that's just my stance on it. I mean,
Well, and I know we found when there was concern about it and a number of folks, and again, have found that it's like any sport, any recreation. 98% of the people are fine and respectful, and it's the 2% that make people crazy. When they're there. ATVs or snowmobiles or hunting or whatever the heck it is. But I just, and it's funny, just because last week someone asked me about it, because on a stretch of road headed towards Johnson, but they aren't usually, there've been a bunch of folks going by and they're like, what's happening? And they haven't been doing this before. And it's, but I mean, it was the middle of the day, and it was a weekend, so it wasn't anything, they were just, and I said, I haven't got the funniest idea.
Well,
But
have them
it's-
call Chad from the ATV club. He said that he is willing to field any phone
Okay.
calls and any complaints
Yeah,
that might happen, and he will address them immediately.
because I think sometimes people do just need information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep, and Brent went before the village and they're fine with it, so the village is open too, so.
And I still have to put it, post as a public notice
Absolutely.
too, so we'll hear
Yeah.
if it,
Yeah, let me know.
the minimum 4%. If they need to come to you and readdress it.
Yep.
I think some of the northern towns have had great luck with it, you know, like I did talk
Yeah.
to Newport about it,
Yeah.
they're doing great with it, so.
Well, and again, it's particularly. It helps places like the village, but I think.
And I know people were worried about it being a destination, but this is not a destination ATV riding, like if you go to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, where they have real trails.
Yeah.
That's the destination, this just is a connection,
Or locals and folks just.
yes,
Getting to the trails.
yes.
Getting to the trails,
Yeah.
yeah, cause like, for instance, for me, part of my road wasn't legal, so. But if I got to Thompson, no, if I got to Cleveland Corner, it's legal.
Yes.
Legal, right.
But Center Road from my
Oh,
house to
yeah,
there
right.
wasn't. So it's like simply, and there's a lot of people, you are the same way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like these simple connectors that made all the trails kind of connect. That was basically Chad's. Not argument, but statement.
Yeah,
I
well, I
guess.
was
It wasn't an
thinking-
argument, but,
Well, and not making people crazy trying to figure out how to get around it.
right,
And sometimes people can do more damage trying to get around something.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And even, yeah, Newport is.
Yeah.
Is. In there, they have so much up there that they can. Or even Newport's more of a destination than we are.
Wait.
That's where my camp is, and I'm like, well, it's just so much.
We don't have a big down.
So should we accept your ordinance to
That's the updated
Yes,
amendment.
That's the update.
amend
Then-
it?
then I'll
or-
post it.
Okay, perfect.
A motion for that, I'll make the motion. So. Planning board.
Accept
Accept.
the amended ordinance.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, staying. Okay. Residential fill, this was more me wanting to put this on tonight, because I did have someone reach out. So I wanted to get it in the minutes and in the public's eyes, I guess, of how it goes, how it works. So please tell me if I'm incorrect on my little statement here that I wrote out today. No problem. He told me what to write, but I want to make sure I do it right.
We did this a year ago,
Correct.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it again.
Doesn't hurt to repeat it.
Yeah, because it's still an issue, so.
Okay.
So if a Hyde Park resident wants fill from the highway department, the steps are as follows. To call Steve at the town office for a permit, which is free. And then to call Mark French at the highway. Am I going too fast? At 888-4625 to be put on the list. You will need to call each year if you want fill, so that Mark knows that you still want it to stay on the list. The town has priority to the fill for projects we're doing. And the fill will be delivered at the highway's discretion based on location of the job and the people that are on the list. Whatever. Okay. Perfect. Does anyone have anything to add to that or? Okay.
Pretty clear.
Cool. Cool.
Good job.
Okay, okay, thought you were gonna add, so hopefully,
We don't have official policy, though, do we?
I don't think so.
I mean, if I could have those, I will generate one and y'all can.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
create one.
Yes, let's do that.
And then all y'all have to do is ratify it next meeting, and then it's,
Then it will be more official. Yeah.
yes.
Okay, let's do
So if
that.
there's any discretionary questions or anything like that, they can go into the website, then we actually have policy.
True. Rather than minutes,
Yes.
finding me doing my spiel every year. Okay.
That's why I say if I could steal your notes, that would help.
Sure.
Cheat.
Okay, anything else from you, Mark?
I'm going to shower.
You can, thank you. Appreciate it.
You want?
Both of them if you want.
I don't want to take a nap.
Hey, Kim. Hi. Looks like you're next.
So every year, I present the policy, it has to be reviewed and signed every year, adopted every year. I think, Mike, do you have the original?
I gave
Okay,
it to her.
perfect.
Is this what? okay.
Perfect. So in the past, because of our situation, there's between a 3 to an 8% penalty when people file their homestead declarations late. Our situation is that in Hyde Park, our homestead education rate is lower than the non-homestead rate. So our penalty is up to 3%. In the past, the boards have approved a 3% penalty that go on to tax bills when people file their homestead declarations late.
Okay.
So
I thought if you filed your declaration late, you didn't even get it.
oh no, you get it, you just get a penalty for filing late, and the penalty money. They put it in statute so that towns have funds to pay for the extra work that goes into generating or downloading all of those, reviewing them, because Justin has to review them before, they come to me.
Okay.
So his time for reviewing all of those, and then my time for reprinting revised tax bills.
Oh, true.
And if
Okay.
they file a homestead declaration, there's the potential that they get a state payment.
Right.
So, there's the potential for 2 separate revised tax bills.
Okay.
The homesteads are downloaded weekly. Did they change the date this year, Justin? Is it like on Thursdays or Friday or?
It's Fridays, yeah.
Fridays, okay, so they're available for download on Fridays.
Okay.
And the homestead payments, if somebody qualifies for one, is a monthly download. So hypothetically, I print a revised tax bill because you've just done the homestead filing. And they now go from non-homestead to homestead rate for their education tax.
Okay.
At the end of July, if they get a state payment and I download that, another revised tax bill because the state payment's been added. So those penalties were created for municipalities for reimbursing them for their time and expense and, supplies. Tax bill paper isn't cheap, but,
Yeah.
that's what it's there for.
Okay.
It's 3% of their total tax bill, it's 3% of what?
3% of the homestead.
Education rate.
Yeah.
Education, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah,
I also just mentioned that it affects current use as well. If someone's in current use and they file homestead late, then have to redo their current use as well.
So more work. More potential,
yeah.
Okay, so we should approve your 3% penalty. Is that what you're looking for?
So
Okay.
in that blank space where it had the reading, we're filling in 3% there. The town of Hyde Park will charge a penalty of 3%. Okay, so that's what we're gonna fill in. Yep.
Okay, I'll move that.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
And that's
abstained.
consistent with last year, Tim, right? I
Yes,
think, yeah.
yes,
You need us all on this?
yes, please.
Okay. There you go.
I'd like to keep, Kim, I'd like to keep a copy of that at the lister's desk too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, delinquent taxes.
So in your board packet is a history of the delinquent taxes as of December 31st and June 30th annually. So on June 30th, we had $74,825.80 that were delinquent. I did print or note as of last night, that's down to $65,720. It'll be, at the last meeting, I did mention the revised tax sale laws. So with our last notice that we sent out on July 16th, this is the new notice that we're required to do on pink paper. And part of the notice is telling people that they have 30 days from the date of the notice to request a payment agreement. Which we've always offered a payment agreement since I took over as delinquent tax collector. So I'm hoping that with the new laws and not really being able to hold a tax sale for a year, but I'm hoping that we still get the payments. Because that's gonna affect, it's gonna affect the town. We have to send education taxes immediately to the schools. So that's kind of money out of our pocket until we can collect it back through the delinquent tax collection and or tax sale process. And making towns wait a year for that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Basically, the town becomes the funding
For the
for the
schools.
schools. So
Schools.
I still am working with Ruth on an updated policy where this was the first important stage because we met with them like 2 days before we had to send the notice out. So the notice was first. We're working on the policy.
Okay,
So when I have that completed, I'll get that to you.
okay.
I do have 2 people on a payment plan, so.
Good.
Question for you, Kim. Is it just a tax sale notices that have to be on pink paper or delinquent notices too?
No. No,
Just
the
tax it.
statute calls for the notice of abatement and possible reduction in charges. Is how it's legally titled, and I can give you this copy if you want it. So it has to mention the abatement, legally, it has to mention the tax sale changes. And it has to mention the payment agreement opportunity. So.
Yes, please. Thank
you
you.
have this one.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Errors and emissions, got some more for us, I see.
That I do. There's one on there, parcel was subdivided during the 2024 tax year or grand this year. It was before April 1st and the grand list didn't reflect that. And the other one, do you mind me what that name is on there?
Matt
Not really.
Reed.
No, but he's part of it.
Menage Howard local trust.
Yep, and then Howard Menage, his property was put in at 1.52 acres. And it should be the 2.03. I read the survey wrong. The new section is a 1.52 and it's supposed to be plus that other acreage. So
Okay,
that's the correction there.
okay.
And just for the public record too, the Board of Listers signed this at their July 18th meeting.
Okay.
One good motion. Man, so I move that we accept the proposed errors and omissions report.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained. Perfect. And we'll get that signed.
Thank you.
Local emergency management plan. Nice.
The last 2 pages is the main ones of concern. I just want to
Okay.
make sure I messed up on Carol's email. Brian is supposed to get me a correct one for the water and wastewater. I will get that correct.
Oh, okay.
You
Uh,
need to change page number 4 too.
what do you?
page number 4, because Forest Hill is no longer there.
Okay,
So you don't want to take that off, because that's now the community house.
okay.
So that, I mean, you can add us on there, I mean, it doesn't matter, but. I mean, that's.
If you'll mark on
We're
there, then
still,
I'll fix
we're
it.
still considered vulnerable population group,
Okay.
but I'm just saying that.
The same with looking, when I printed off, I did make an update as an alternate, as our fire department being an alternate location, it didn't save, so I'll have to add that to you as you requested prior before the storm, this last one that came through.
Okay.
The second page is just you have to be credentialed to fill this out, which they already have my transcript, but I did send them my transcript that transferred from Texas to here, showing that I do have the proper IS training to fill that out.
Okay, great.
And if there are any other corrections I can make, I will make them. It was hard to get a hold of a lot of people too. So just verifying a lot of names, numbers.
Roland was good to stand on.
Yes, really is.
Okay, so yeah. I'm gonna look that over too some more, so.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some more updates to that.
That's fine. All you have to do is,
Let you know.
yes, and we'll get it submitted.
Perfect. Thank you for that. You want me to make that change on page 4 on there for you, or just send you an email?
You can do it either way, whatever's easiest for you,
Well,
Nicole.
send that to me too.
I think we did all right now on one topic.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't paying attention because I was reading the document, but you talked about Carol Robertson. You're taking her off and putting Brian on.
Yes, I'm just
Okay,
waiting for the proper location because he said he got somebody else, but
Okay,
with Brian, it's hard to communicate sometimes.
I missed it, so I just want to make.
Yes.
Okay,
Good
thank
picking
you.
up.
Okay, Development Review Board. Vacancy.
We have not received an official application yet,
Oh, okay.
so I thought we might, and we did not.
Okay.
So, put it out on Front Porch Forum again, it's in the newsletter. See you again next month,
Okay,
fingers crossed.
okay, sounds good.
That's a 3-year term.
It's a yeah, basically, it's through town meeting of 2028.
Okay, LCPC Board of Directors reappointment.
We have Richard Pearson and Greg Paz would like to be reappointed. I just printed out the form upstairs, so I can bring that down after the meeting.
Okay.
But they submitted a letter of interest or email stating I'd like to do it again,
Okay,
so if you'd like to reappoint them.
okay.
And I move to reappoint Greg and Richard. To the Planning Commission.
Perfect, so I have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those, whoop.
Just to clarify, it's to the Lemoyle County Planning Commission.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and sorry, Matt, did you second that?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, abstaining. Great, thank you. Okay, looks like Valerie wants to be on the Mill Valley Rail Trail Committee.
And we had Al Spitzer, who is currently appointed, is
Okay.
here, right?
For what now?
Well,
You say you're gonna point into lots of things.
this is one to make sure I understand this correctly.
Okay.
No, there's not Al, that's
Not Al.
it's Cy.
Okay.
Sorry, you're good.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Oh.
So yeah, so Cy Searles was previously appointed
Okay.
and he hasn't attended meetings to my knowledge of from what LCPC has said.
Gotcha.
Valerie has. and
Wait,
she-
LCPC or LVR?
LVRT.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
yeah.
So Valerie has been going and would like to go. She submitted a letter of interest.
See that. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Move we appoint Mallory to the Will Valley Rail Trail. Many reported it about that.
Yeah, awesome. Second.
That's great.
Awesome. Great. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Great.
So was there a term that you were doing that? The form looks like it is asking for a term.
I didn't think those were terms.
I don't know, but the form, the Lamoille Valley, the Lamoille County LVRT Regional Committee. Municipalities should designate a representative who is willing and able to regularly participate in committee meetings and frequently share information between their municipal officials, staff, and committee. The following municipal appointments are valid for check one,
Where is she
1 year,
looking at?
2 years, 3 years.
It's on the front side of where she,
Well,
where
that's
that,
it.
where that.
That's, oh, I was looking at.
You're looking at the other one.
Looking at the planning commission one.
And it is a 2-year term.
Yep,
I guess.
Thank you, Kim.
yep. Thank you. I was looking at the planning.
I was
commission.
reading our list.
Planning commissions. will-
I know, I could.
That's right. So let's restate that to the 2-year term. Permanent. Okay, Brent's update. You've been busy with FEMA by the looks of things.
Yes, and we'll be addressing, if y'all looked at page 1, pretty much the whole page. We'll be talking on the next item, but I didn't know if y'all had any questions you wanted me to address while through my report. I'll gladly answer.
Anybody have any questions? We're on all of it? The first page,
Yeah, pretty much the whole,
pretty much FEMA.
the whole
right?
for
Well,
the
whole
first
thing.
page.
Well, I'm sorry to dig into debris for the good work
I
out.
just, I think I had read through that and that was, it sounded like they had committed to it and now they aren't, but we kind of owe the landowner.
Well-
Is that where we're at with that?
Long story short, when we should have, I'm getting my butt chewed is because why did we leave a resident with city debris on their field for over a year? And I'm not gonna put anybody under the bus. I said, my apologies, we'll move forward. But when we were initially told that that debris field, no matter if it was trees or road material, wasn't gonna be allowable for funding, we should have moved forward in a different direction. And us going ahead, well, we're just gonna submit anyway to see if we can get it between the cracks. My assumption, which I would have done the same thing. That's what we did. Now, from the time I got on board until, well, the end of this month, they were intrigued, and my only outlook on this is there was less communication between actual FEMA and Vermont Emergency Management, making sure that everybody is on the same page, because FEMA is telling us, yes, we need debris size, we need to do this. Like I said, we spent $11,000 for them to address the areas of concern. And then, you know, how much is it going to cost to get it cleared? Well, that's when me and Andreas got together and I pushed them, hey, let's get an RFP together. Let's do it. Let's get it posted. Let's see how much it's going to cost. So now we have contractors involved, putting their time and effort to put an RFP together, get it back to us in time, which we will address here in a little bit as well. And then all of a sudden, a new, pretty much a project manager for FEMA comes in, because I've dealt with 4 since I've been here.
Yeah.
All of a
That's
sudden
what-
saying,
exactly
whoa,
what
my
they did.
supervisors want to know
Yeah.
about the debris field and what took so long.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, and then they changed.
And they said, well, and then that same day was, I heard from the state saying no. But on a good note, if we move forward by whatever way that you'll want to, I did fill out. And I know it was sent to Kim and she forwarded it to me about a local impact grant. I did submit for it. The funds are not to be spent on projects which are eligible for FEMA funding. This is anything that isn't funding by FEMA. So we might, it didn't allow me to give how much I need, how much I don't need. So we'll get some funding back as long as everybody knows and the state knows that we are utilizing it on things that weren't fundable. So I'm hoping, you know, this will be a bittersweet end and we'll be able to move forward for the betterment of the town and betterment of this resident, because I talked to him, very nice man. And I told him that I would keep him up to date on whatever we're doing. And I told him that we were working diligently on trying to get this problem resolved. Because he has spent some money out of pocket to clean up some of his area. So. But other than that, I mean, things are starting to ramp up again, like the bike pedestrian program, North Hyde Park. So I'm gonna have to get with the North Hyde Park committee that y'all established back in January. I know I dealt with them once when the wastewater feasibility study, so I roughly know who to reach out to, so we can start getting together on for them to decide how they want to move forward with a person to scope and design the project. So, I mean, the center dam removal and everything is.
I thought the North Hyde Park thing ended up kind of dissolving because when we sent the letters out to all the residents, we got back like one.
Well, this is different.
Oh,
This
okay,
is-
This is
okay,
this is a
okay,
You're right
pedestrian.
about that.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yes.
yeah.
And you know, Johnson Street, I'm still dealing with it. That's been sitting on the back burner since 2016.
Yeah.
They're really wanting to push it, so I'm pushing it, working with all the parties involved in that. The LVRT. And Susan had a long discussion with everybody there. And
Almost as bad as dealing with FEMA.
yes. And then just billing from the post office, wastewater design. Get with Peter Danforth. We're about ready to get, again, dealing with the village on somebody to assist us on getting some soil samples at the backside of the post office there to hopefully it'll relieve some of the water there and erosion and probably make it stormwater move a little bit easier going down Church Street for sure, down that hill. So that's what we're doing. I touched on the Hyde Park Hill. Everything's going really good. Me, Dean and Allie have been having really good conversations on how to move forward with the intake process, outtake process. They gave me a list of communities that might be interested in it. So I did pretty much a chain email to everybody on that. And of course, you already know my discussions with the village about the ATV policy change. I think I respected the town well. I didn't go off on a tangent or anything. I think they expected that, but they were very receptive. Just trying to keep the point positive instead of negative with our two businesses and our residents that live on the south side of town, making it more accessible for them and feasible. I know the ATV group is working on trails going towards Morrisville, so this might open a door of opportunity for them, you know, but I'm just trying to move the best way there. That's why I was just making sure. I made a bet with, I was gonna put down that y'all approved me 2 tickets to Slipknot just to see if y'all actually read my report, and you said, yeah, he was gonna have to owe me dinner, but I didn't do it.
You don't want to take it back.
Let's get that on my.
Thanks for that.
Yes. Now,
But again, there's 2 contractors that did bid for the debris removal.
Mhm.
And I didn't know if you looked at them.
Yeah, I briefly, but we're not gonna be heading that route anyways, right? From my understanding, we're probably gonna be self-performing this.
We can, I mean, now since we're one body short, it's gonna make it a little bit difficult in time restraints. I did sort of, me and Mark got together and I did a cost of labor, hiring everything.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Right, Tim, yeah. But yeah, we can do it about 5,000 to 10,000 cheaper than that. But again, that's up to y'all as a select board to table everything and move. I can get some better numbers and get with him on a time frame since he is technically a body short now for an undisposed amount of time.
I guess my conversation or my thought process, I guess, speaking of open-minded, is I'll let you and Mark have another conversation as to whether he feels he can do it. And then we, next meeting, say, let's go, or even have a special meeting or just a conversation, email back, but my preference is save the town $5,000-6,000. We got a landowner that's been good. I think we should just do it.
Okay.
I'd rather that than us focus on mowing even, so personally.
Well, I mean, we can always divide them up, you know, there's two
Yeah.
sections, we can always divide up one section. They can get that one done, all hands on deck, and then
Yep.
hit the bigger one or smaller one, so I mean.
Because
again,
even-
that's
even-
y'all's choice.
Even with a contractor bidding on it right now, doesn't mean they're gonna show up right away. I can
Exactly.
promise you in my world.
No,
right now,
no,
I cannot tell you where I'm gonna be tomorrow, but I
Yeah, and
I'm
coming
getting
from the
7 or 8
construction, I
calls.
totally
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, but out of respect to them, I wanted to at least get it on here.
Yeah.
Us address it so I can move forward to let them know, appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We're moving forward in a different direction, because I don't want them to think that we're leaving them hanging.
Right.
respect is great, yeah. And obviously a lack of funding, so.
Yes.
Good.
You're gonna have to sign some type of landowner agreement, I would assume.
Permission, like a permission slip to
we'll
get
get
on
into
the
it.
property, which I've already gotten, that one gentleman already
Yeah.
got. He's given me the okay, I just have to email his wife the form, and he said he'd sign it and send it back.
Okay.
When we get to time.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's all I have,
Well, awesome.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now, finance, we've got all sorts of good stuff. Okay, let's start with Wayne's Electric.
Jen is online.
Oh, hi Jen.
Also, sorry, Jen, I also reached out to him, not once but twice, asking him to get us I did talk to him personally once, think it was Wednesday of last week. Of course, he was telling me the whole story from Adam and Eve moving forward. I told him, listen, we just want to work together on this to get it resolved. If you could get me an estimate on the labor cost, so we could do this, it'd be greatly appreciated. He said he'd throw me something together. I personally have not received anything back from him. And then I tried, when I was in the office Saturday, I reached out to him thinking that he might, and I left a message, and as of right now, I haven't heard anything, so.
Okay.
I'll move forward again to try to talk to him again. If y'all want me to.
And did we figure out what this was for?
Yeah.
And why? We haven't really got to the bottom of that, right?
Well, I sent an email, remember I found it in the minutes from like way back.
Yes, and I did reach out to the fire warden, the state fire inspector, marshal. And he says he can recall a statement, but he would have to go further back into his files to see if we were actually cited for the event, because we were out of code. And that's why it needed to be done when all the changes in the partial flooding happened.
Okay.
Service size, I think, is what it came down to.
I did a lot of searching and found it.
Yes, you.
Cause I'm still. I'm still
It was
bothered by that.
it was brought up at a meeting.
How long ago?
2023.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
2022.
Exactly 2 years ago.
It was like my,
Because
it was like my,
exactly 2 years
yeah.
ago.
I found it.
I was saying, it was like my,
And I'm like,
that's why I didn't recall, it was like literally when I started,
Yeah.
that's how far back.
Right. I wasn't exactly paying attention to a lot of things, so. it's
And
like,
Susan replied, oh, that's why I can't remember.
Yeah, I know, I've been, oh, yeah, okay. So, but it was about. What weren't we in compliance with? I mean, because the fire marshal was kind of like, yeah, so.
I think the overall, because you had your hot water heater in right with your breaker box, and then the breaker box was inadequate. It was not up to code. So that's why everything had to be moved, because everything was in that room, and that's why the hot water heater had to be moved. And then just him looking at the box, that's when it was recommended that after the fire marshal, that it needed to be put up to code.
And did that ever happen?
No.
No,
Right.
and then we suddenly get a bill, so
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
I'm
That's
still.
why I'm like, so it
I'm
didn't
still-
sound.
There was a lapse in communication somewhere, I think, between the electric company and the select board on when and how to move forward. And now we're starting to see, because of that lack of communication, somebody just dropped the ball. Let's just move forward and see how y'all want to move forward with it.
I think there was a conversation between him and Ron, correct? That's,
Yes.
so,
He was told to move forward and start purchasing new materials. And because it was COVID,
Mhm.
not everything was available immediately. It was being piecemeal shipped to him as it became available. And that's why it took a while for him to get everything.
Boy, that would be nice of you to tell us.
right, I was gonna say, I think that the ball definitely got dropped on the other end as well, I'm sure, but at the same time.
Yeah, then it came, so it was a whole variety, so
Yeah.
people were juggling and nobody knew how to juggle. You know, just sort of,
Well, I guess we'd have to go back to the meeting minutes and see how we approve the funding or where the funding's coming.
I don't think that was ever officially in the minutes, it was just a conversation, literally a conversation.
Right.
But I think Jen can chime in on that.
So I have a copy of the Wayne's Electric bill on the table, and there are minutes behind it
Oh,
from July 5th, 2022 and July 12th, 2022. And it talks about how it was a perfect use of ARPA funding. And it was going to be around $8,000 to $10,000 for a new generator.
yeah. Well, that's for a new generator.
Well, so
Total cost would be between 20 to 30,000 for the whole project
Oh,
to
yeah.
redo the basement.
Yeah,
So my conversation with Mark one day was, he had to go ahead to do the project. Then Mark French reached out to him because of our power outages. To ask about, you know, can you just give us a quote for a generator? And so he said, he can absolutely do that, but if he puts in generators, some of the materials he'd already purchased wouldn't be needed. So he would want to know, do we want the generator or just do the original plan? Because if he did the original plan and then did the generators at some point in later, he's ripping out a lot of what he had just done. Right. So that's kind of why the generators came into play, because Mark and I were talking about generators after those power outages.
it sounds like everybody's having conversations and we're not getting anywhere.
No.
Yeah,
Cause, I mean, Mark's talking to you, but he's not replying to Brent to give us information, so I'm still not okay with this. situation.
yeah.
I mean, it's a whole bunch of he said, she said.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but he bought the parts already, I think we're.
well, but we don't know what these parts are for because he hasn't given us the labor work. And that's what we're asking for, is an estimate on the labor to what exactly he's doing with these parts. Because this is just parts.
I think before he can do that, he would wanna know. do you
I
want
know that,
just-
Sam, but he's
just-
talking to you and not answering Brent.
No, I haven't talked to him since the
So,
last time.
I
but
need to know what he's doing.
Right, and I haven't talked to him since, but when I sent the email back in December asking.
Right.
To move forward, so if Brent's gonna ask for a quote, I think it should be clarified. Do we want just to move forward with the original plan that Ron told him to do 2 years ago?
We don't know what that is though, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Oh, okay, so it was supposed to be upgrading the electrical panel because of all of the.
Correct.
Bad
Fire
things.
marshal, right, so.
So Mark must have, yeah, so what basically, I say, I'm getting myself caught up to speed here too, so Mark owes us a quote of original. Based on upgrading to the fire marshal and then the new quote. That's what we'll be looking at, so then us as a select board, we can talk about.
Correct.
Right.
We have nothing to go by.
Together.
Yeah, we need all the pieces together and
Right.
all we have is a bill for $8,000. And the total cost was supposed to be 10. Mark will prepare the panel work to cost 10 grand, so the labor only gonna be $2,000. Find that hard to believe, but.
I'll reach out again to Mark and find out.
I mean. I just don't feel like we have all
2 years is a long time though.
so. Well, 2 years, you just go less.
That's what I mean.
But
We weren't very organized then either. Not us, our office. You know, we didn't have the fabulous people we have now, so that
Very true.
things got lost in translation then.
That could very well be.
Well, yeah,
I mean, these minutes states at least more than we had.
Mhm.
But. Maybe we can ask Mark to come to the next meeting.
If that's your wish. I'll-
actually, I think that'd be good.
And then we can talk about
We
it.
can all have the
Then I'll
conversation.
Right,
reach out-
rather
I'll
than
reach out
another
to
bunch of he said, she said, talking to me.
Yeah.
nothing to do.
No. I'll attach you with you.
Perfect, okay, let's do that.
What's Mark's last name?
Alexander,
does he own wings?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
okay. Has an ARPA request.
We do. So included in your board packet is a memo, to summarize the memo. This building is 50+ years old. These vaults, there's this vault here and one directly on top of it were built at the time the building was built. And there's been almost no renovations. I did redo the inside of that one. After they closed off this exit, there used to be an exit back here. So it required some work. Some of that, the door work that was done is, well, the first invoice was for $3,833. That was a combination of some door maintenance. That he did while he was here, changing the dials, the old spin dials that were not working great, to digital dials. But while he was here, he noticed that the doors aren't opening and closing properly. They're like getting stuck. So he worked on them. That didn't solve the problem. Had to have him come back because this door here, we couldn't get in. It had nothing to do with the lock. It was just shut. So he came back, he worked on that, he went upstairs and he finished working on that one. Between the two invoices, it was $7,768 in work, and it was a solid 8 hours a day, both times he came. Well, 6 hours because he charges his hourly rate for travel. So he's coming from 2 hours away. Although we anticipate some repairs, did not anticipate that level of repairs to those doors. So I'm asking the board if we can use $7,768 of ARPA for those two invoices, so they don't totally deplete my restoration fund that I need to use to pay my monthly restoration contract, or my reporting contract. And we're gonna have to be buying a shelf for the vault upstairs for our land records. We're kind of outgrowing what we have. And I expect that will be coming from that fund. So that's what I'm looking for. And I talked to Jen about it to make sure, you know, is there money available? And she had worked on it, and the last time I talked to her, she thought that there may be money, but that's something that Jen will have to pipe in and confirm.
I gave you guys all an updated ARPA allocation plan spreadsheet. And I did include the vault upgrades and repairs that Kim's presenting.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Do you have,
Okay,
you have a
cool.
copy of the invoice he sent for this?
There's one attached.
Yeah. People have heard back.
Wings. It looks like this. Royal Group.
Well, the vault will never go away, right? We're not gonna put all that, because you can't put all that online, right?
Even if it's online, the current statutes require it be present in the law.
Still.
Those books will never go away. I love the books.
like
I love
history.
going through them.
Yeah. Well, it's history, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any?
Other than it's astronomical what the guy is charging.
I know. It's probably one in a
So
million people that are, no one does it.
I reached out, we have a clerk listserv. You send out the email and every clerk in the state that's subscribed to it, that's a member of our Clerks and Treasurers Association is subscribed to it. And with everybody, I asked everybody, who do you use for vault repairs? I'm looking to do this, and this. And I got back 75% of the people that said, I've done vault repairs and this is the company I use. I tried to ask another company, they were in Massachusetts, they didn't want to come to Vermont. It was too much of a drive, so that's why I went to him, because other clerks had done the research as well, and this is who's, yeah, the go-to. Yeah, and you're right, it's not cheap,
$400 an hour.
it's travel, it's not 400, it's 200, it's 400.
You said six, so the six, his service is $1,500 a year, 6 hours. So that'd be,
Oh,
and then that $800 for his travel,
it's 2 hours one way.
right? So that'd be 400 per, right? Yeah.
You're in the wrong business.
Well, I went home and told my husband.
Revolver.
This guy looking for.
Is there a like?
I installed that exact same door in my basement. I'm not exaggerating. I have the same thing in my, and I didn't pay that much for the whole door. So that's why I'm like,
Hey.
that's aggressive.
You're the only game in town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we. Oh, yeah, we need a motion because okay, we give Kim some ARPA money.
This we have it review.
Yeah, she put it on here already, so.
Okay, I move to give the $7,769.68. You gotta say 27 cents.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained.
Find out if he's looking for an apprentice. Yes.
Alright,
Thank you.
sure thing.
I don't know how we got it open. I mean, if you couldn't get it open, how did you get it open?
Yes.
It would be fascinating.
He tried it every day.
Yeah, I know.
Jen, where do you wanna start with all of your action items in ARPA update? Do you just want me to go through your memo one by one? Anything you wanna speak on or anything?
I don't care how you wanna handle it.
Okay, I didn't know if you had anything specific.
I guess if you guys have questions, I'm willing to chime in and let you know where I'm at and what
Yeah,
I'm
I was-
thinking, if you don't understand.
By the over expenditure and salaries. Were you shocked by that or?
Was I shocked by the over expenditures?
Yeah, for the salaries.
Not, I mean, I guess a little bit. Administrative, I think, was a little bit more, but that, you know, there were multiple raises given out throughout the year.
Yeah.
Justin got an increase in March. Stephen had one July 1st of 23 and then October of 23 at the end of his probation, and you guys approved mine in May, so a lot of those weren't budgeted for.
Okay.
I think the biggest one was that highway was over budgeted for. by like $40,000. So we'll need to look at that portion of the budget closer for the next cycle.
Did you put that 35 in this ARPA sheet or no?
Yes, so I kind of lumped summed that one. All of the over expenditures of the budget are just in line 30, budget supplement year end. For like a total
Oh, yep, I see it.
cumulative of 100,000.
Yep, okay.
And so with that proposed Kim's, I did put one in there for the electrical upgrades
Yeah.
of 17, just as a placeholder.
Yep.
The 20,000 for the cemeteries, which I still haven't heard back from.
Okay.
With all the possible expenditures that I've listed here that we could talk about tonight, there's still 8,900 that could be left over.
Okay.
So
Okay, great. Okay. So why don't you do a motion for each one? What you want, Justin?
Yes, please. And Jen, can you send this to me in Word document as well if they make it so that it's easier to update the minutes?
sure.
Thank you.
Okay. So if we could have a motion for the ARPA funds recovery for employee retention.
$35,646.52.
Correct.
Okay, I move that we use ARPA funding for that.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained. Okay. So did they just wait to bill us? Is that what's happening with some of these things?
For the auditing, we're playing catch up. So there's 2 years worth of invoices.
Oh, right, okay. Okay,
And they billed for most of 23, even though they're still working on it.
okay,
They just came and did testing last week for FY23 and FY24. So in FY25, we're gonna have all of the invoices for FY24.
okay.
But basically this, we did, it may have been a line item in 23, but we don't have a reserve for it, so it carried over into. General funds.
Yeah, and the unassigned fund balance if there's much of it left.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make the approval or the motion. to
Okay.
approve them.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Alright, opposed, abstained. Okay. Okay, so Silver Ridge Design, that's this bill, right?
Professional services.
Oh, whoops.
That's what.
So on that professional services, do we have this carried in our next year budget? Like, or are we gonna run into these problems in the future? So this is my big thing about like. ARPA is made for one-time expenses. It's not made to run a budget. So.
It is under budgeted
Yeah,
again.
so how do we budget this properly on this one?
So the next budget cycle, I am gonna be looking at this closer to everything that gets posted to this account. It kind of, I think, is just had this thought that, you know, we were just gonna put our tech group contract in there, but it encompasses a lot more that just hasn't been looked at deeply, so.
Okay. It'll be budget time going on.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's, yeah. And ARPA fund will be, it won't be so easy to make these motions to the extra funding, so like. Right now, we have this fake fund and. It's good to get these wrapped up, but we will, obviously. Now that we have somebody that's looking at all this, I would like to be a little straighter than this next year.
agreed.
Yep. Okay, so we need a motion for the expenditure on professional services, please.
I'll make the motion, use the 14,704.72 from funds.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, abstain. Okay, so Rich Design. This is for this bill,
Yeah,
the fire station.
Yep.
For the design.
this is what ARPA was all about. when we
Correct.
started. This is something we all agreed we needed. This is to make the safe space, to make the.
No,
Is there, where's the money coming from to build the addition? Is that for?
I'm reaching out right now, I'm looking out for great funding.
no, yeah.
Okay.
But we need a design first.
Yeah,
So
right.
design and
So can I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make the motion on that one. Silveridge Design. Increase from 5905.54 to 76.50. He's done.
Do we know if he's done?
Right now he is,
Okay.
from what I've known,
I was gonna say,
since I was.
I guess as I would ask, right,
Let's find that out.
Madam Chair, if we can have our administrator reach out and say. You know,
Confirm that
Yeah,
he's
so-
final no.
I don't wanna make another motion in a month that he's, you know.
Exactly.
Sometimes when these things become an open checkbook, and I think this
This
checkbook has to
Bill's
stop.
through June, so let's hope.
Yeah, so
Let's.
I haven't received any update on those. I went to one of the meetings that we went through.
Yeah,
It was all handwritten on paper. It should have been done at that time, so I'm. Puzzled that we're getting additional, but maybe there's permits or there's, I knew he had to reach out with permit stuff and all that stuff, so.
and plans and copies.
So-
Yep, that's what this is.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Yep. Oppose, abstain. Okay. Let's see, Wayne's Electric, we are going to hold off on. Lease.
I feel like I have to say this.
I know.
I have to
please.
say this.
Mhm.
From day one, I had heartburn with this. I've had heartburn, I've continued to have heartburn, and it continues, the bill just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I understand there's a cost for being a leader and everything. But from day one, I was told, we're gonna get other towns in this and we're gonna be involved and we're not gonna have this expense. This expense is landing on our lap, and
Again,
I'm very, very, very unhappy with this because, like I said, I think a shed up back would have solved all of our problems temporarily, but this right here is something I do not want the town to have going forward for years to come.
Right, yes. Right now.
You better not have eggs on your face in 3 months.
well, because I thought we were like to not exceed a while ago,
Yes.
and I,
Well, so we're adding, because the 5,000, our portion, that had to come from somewhere.
right,
And so we never really did talk about where that was coming from. We talked about the construction for the fence, the sign, all of that.
got
But we
it.
never did say where was our 5,000 for our.
Oh, our 5,030.
So that's, okay, so we do have, we have 6 towns involved.
We have one on board now. We have one gonna be official August 1st, so we'll have 2.
That's great.
The others,
Halfway there.
well, I mean, it's 2 outside communities and they're reaching out for more.
Halfway there, Matt. halfway there.
I was really,
You can say it, Matt. You can say it.
I was not on board with this originally, because it's getting the $30,000 scared the crap out of me to take care of other people's dogs, and. I understand that we have a policy that requires us to take care of them and we have to do this, but. It's a huge expense to.
What are the
town.
other towns doing that don't?
Nothing.
And there's a statute that, you know, the state does have a statute that all towns are required to provide this service. Last time I checked with all the updates is the state is starting to look at what type of enforcement they can do against the town.
Mhm.
At least that might help us attract some other communities that can't afford it by themselves, where we can assist them with it. Yes, there is a cost. Yes, I'm willing to do what I can, except for changing what cost y'all have already set until next fiscal year, to where when we start looking at updated interlocals, what can you do? What can you do? Do you pay more? Do you pay less? Right now, I mean,
And
yeah,
again, back to the line item 4 lines ago, ARPA fund is not something to set a budget on. And every time we have had any vote on ARPA, if there is somebody that here that needs something that is an ARPA project, i.e. recreation, fencing, a one-time expense, I think that's what ARPA was meant for. Fire trucks. I do not want to start setting budgets based on ARPA. That's where our state is getting in a lot of trouble. We're seeing that. And I do not want to follow that suit. I do not want to set a precedence using ARPA to create a budget line.
Well, we're not creating a budget line. It
But we're just
also
paying
is-
this year's budget line.
Well, it also, but it
Yes.
was meant to cover over
Yeah.
expenditures as well.
Yeah.
That is something that it was supposed to help towns with. But I do
Yeah.
get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it is supposed to do both.
Okay, yeah.
As long as it's not more of the over expenditure.
And what happens is, yes, it's next year's, so now we're going back to the town people, and instead of looking at a 3 to 5% increase, we're looking at a 10%. I do not want to do that. We've seen enough of it, so.
So wait a minute, this, and I've kind of came in the middle of all of this, but. The towns that did not go in on the interlocal, the dog kennels. We created like you can, if you have to bring a dog here, you can, you pay by the day, right? Or no?
For Hyde Park, for our dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I
No,
mean,
but
like in
if
the
it's-
downtown.
if it's an emergency and if it's dictated by the sheriff's department, we will assist to get an abusive, or if there's a criminal act or actual legal neglect. That's the only time that I have been allowing animals to be picked up, say from Woolcock or Johnson or whoever, until
If
they,
it's not in the interlocal.
what's that? Yeah, those are strictly for people right now. We're just not picking up dogs in Eden and bringing them to our kennel,
Well,
no.
then Wolcott, if the dog gets picked up like that in Wolcott has to pay X per day, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
right, yes,
Like,
they
so-
do have to pay, we don't just pay.
That's what I mean, like they would have to pay us so much a day, is what I'm saying.
That's how this started, and we were kind of.
Yeah, we could just pick them up, but like,
Right.
if they were to call us and say, we have, like, if their ACO were to pick up a dog. And have one, they didn't have anywhere to go, they didn't know where.
But we're trying not to do that, because then why would you ever join the thing?
Interlocal.
Why
The
would you-
interlocal gives you a guarantee as a partner in the interlocal.
No, right now, the only way, if I'm right, you're taking out of town dogs is if basically the sheriff is interceding, it's an emergency, it's abuse. Neglect, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's the only.
If it's just, no, they just picked up a nice wandering collie, that's your problem, not ours, and we won't take them.
But we have been reaching. I mean, it's just not, you know. We are doing our due diligence to try to.
There's a policy.
Towns
on
are
separate
that.
catcher.
Right,
So
right
that's
now,
one of the things that
Woolcock
Ally has to
is
sit
a
down with that
interlocal
policy, which I
partner.
think that we got.
And then officially August first.
Where is our policy at? What are we charging? And then at some point, you get some of these people who are. like,
I'm not talking
can't
to
afford
him
to
right
do
now.
this, so they don't. We have to look at that policy. for
He
sure.
is being a stickler.
What's the other town? Wolcott and what?
More stuff.
Morrisville, but that's.
Yeah.
Not official until
Right.
August first.
Like Cambridge was interested in like somebody in their housing in their house or.
Cambridge has a farm, their
Yeah.
ACO has a farm,
Yeah.
so it was easier for him to set up kennels.
I bet we'll see, I mean, what are you gonna do with, they're gonna. have
Which
to
is
do
what we
something.
tried for that. We tried a year for that, so I mean,
Okay. The motion was not made yet because Matt needed to speak. So it's okay.
I have to
It's
keep reading it, yeah, yeah.
Fine. We had heartburn on dogs, I have on ATVs.
There you go.
It's okay.
That's all I had.
Not all gonna always agree, it's all right. All right.
Okay, so we need a motion to increase, what are we doing, from to 9,000, right? 7,500, from 7,500 to 9,000.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose.
I'm just gonna say that I oppose, just to be different.
Okay, you can.
We already passed it, but we're good.
You can.
Just because a year from now, I wanna be able to say, you know what, we talked about this,
It's okay, Matt.
and now where is this $10,000 coming from?
It sounds fine, see, we can say, see, man, we told you.
That's what we told you.
And I would eat my humble pie, I promise.
May it work out. Okay. So the next one, FEMA. Cat Z, I think you should talk about this one, Jen.
We just closed our FEMA storm event from 2019. And one of the projects that FEMA allows us to submit for is to recoup the cost of administrative work and efforts that are spent on a FEMA disaster. So I spent a month and a half researching time that was spent over the last 5 fiscal years and submitted for almost $17,000 in their CAD Z project, which is 100% reimbursable. I could have gone up to 40,000, but it was a lot of effort and I really wanted to be able to prove it. So 5 years worth of stuff was kind of hard to go through, but
So you just submitted for this, we haven't received this, right?
no, it's a receivable.
Thank you for doing that. So do we have new plans going forward? I see you've advised people.
Yep. So any daily records that Mark has from the last storm event, for his time and meeting with FEMA, site inspections, that sort of thing, and all of Brent's efforts and my efforts are getting tracked. So we can submit again once
Driving
we're
around.
done.
Ryan.
We didn't document it very well.
No.
I know, I didn't document, I'll document my time.
Our yearly $600 pay is probably.
Yeah, right. That's it. Oh,
They may give us 16 cents an hour.
yeah, right. Oh, cool, okay, thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Wastewater grants.
So maybe you guys knew this, maybe you didn't, but the North Hyde Park wastewater study that we decided not to continue.
Yep.
I went to go do reimbursement and I didn't realize that it was a potential like loan repayment if we ever decide to pick the project back up. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that the 17, almost 18,000 that I'm going to be asking for reimbursement, if you guys ever decide to go forward with this project again, it will be owed back. And there might not be a grant to cover it like there is right now.
Okay,
I just kind of need your blessing, I guess. Maybe you guys knew, maybe not.
so if we get reimbursed, if you request reimbursement for that.
Mm-hmm.
and
It
we-
goes on like a loan receivable.
4 years, we decide to do the project, we would owe that back,
Yes.
Yes.
right? Is that what you're, okay. I think we should seek reimbursement. Okay.
I mean, yeah, because if we ever did do the project, it's gonna be different design change, different parameters, everything's gonna be different. We reached out to everybody there out of whatever 104 applicants, one person reached.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So.
All right.
Would you like us to vote on that, maybe?
No, I don't think you need to vote. I
Okay.
just need to know that you're okay with me doing it. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
There was town website update that got skipped over. Very, let's see, they want to talk about that.
Well, I just read it.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Is that why you want to talk about it?
That's fair. I just want to make sure that everything was checked off the list. It was a great training though.
Oh, was it? Oh, good. Okay.
Is that good news right there? Am I reading something good?
There's an exclamation.
There's an exclamation
Yeah,
point, so
okay,
yeah.
that was-
We should maybe talk about that out loud. So it's not all negative.
It's the first time I've ever seen us the positive of anything. I think.
know.
No, I know. Jen, this is from the interest on the general funds, that's from interest on our notes or our investments. Is that where
That's the entire general fund, and then so it's the interest on like our big main checking account
okay,
and whatever interest was earned off the T-bills that was owed to the general fund and then split
Yep.
out across. So that doesn't quite include all of the T-bill investments, but because that was already dispersed.
Yeah, it's just more details on the different expenditures for each department. You want to talk about the rec department now?
I talked with Jen about it today.
He's gonna skip.
He's skipping
spent, right?
No, it wasn't over.
It wasn't overspent, it just says it's overspent.
Correct. She said the way it lands, maybe, I don't oversee any of the money, I only, so it was the one thing I said, I'll run the rec department, I'm never touching the money, so. When I get an email like this, I did reach out to a couple people. We are doing more fundraising, I did just donate 24 hours of my time last week and we ran concessions. That we, like last year, we brought back $3,600, so.
3,600.
I think something like that. I think that's what Jen told me. Because I asked her about this, so the fundraising revenue, we started a banner program. We're hanging banners up there to try to offset because all of these tournaments used to be run. So we used to get 3 to 4 tournaments a year. Softball's a dying sport since COVID. So we're not getting as much concessions. So we tried to offset it. So we're using the baseball fields as like a basically a business, so they're buying into a banner program. Basically it's like $285 for them to buy the banner, pays for their yearly subscription, and then every year it's $100 to hang it. So that's what we created this program to try to offset costs in the rec program, so.
And they're just hanging on the backfield or on the?
They're on the backstops, so there's 3 backstops up there and we're trying to litter them all. It's working, it's slow, but again, it's happening nights and weekends on volunteer people, so. Where it says that it was fundraising cost was more than what it was, I think is just how it landed on the quarter, whether we were purchasing banners versus money intake, so.
Yeah, my apologies, Matt. The software isn't friendly when it comes to tracking multiple years.
Yeah, and the ground maintenance mowing, obviously, we knew that was coming up when we talked about budget. I mean, I think the mowing went up $2,000, so. Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we need to amend a motion for the rescue tools.
Yeah. That one I was very confused on, trying to track the
Okay.
funds and the numbers. I didn't prepare what I think were the right ones.
Okay.
But in doing the math afterwards, it just didn't line up.
Okay,
Where is this one? Sorry.
the rescue tools were.
Yeah. So that's in the close to the last page of the packet, and the motions also in the packet and the minutes. The funds amount though in the packet. So I don't see that the original funds stated are in the packet, but have the references in the minute. Was that something that Brent Lampier had submitted at the meeting or?
Yes, he was here.
No, but he had an old quote. And you presented us with the, no.
Yes,
with
I
the new
presented
quote.
with a new quote.
That's
Yeah.
right, yes. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, Brent, because Brent was like, oh, and he just like got rid of it, put it in his pocket because the quote that he had was wrong.
Was wrong.
You had the new one.
Yes,
So that was the number we were going by.
yes. Because you
Yeah.
made the motion after we got the
Yes.
numbers.
And they were
squared away.
taking off, what's it, like $3,000, which John Savage donated back
Yes,
from his retirement, because he didn't want a retirement party.
Right. the
So
cost-
whatever it was in last month's packet, there was an updated amount in that.
Yeah, 130 divided by 2.
yes, because we had to divide it so he knew what to go to Eden with.
Eden,
on
correct,
that portion.
Yep,
So we took,
3,000 off that initial cost.
Which was
and
correct
divided
for
that by
1,000. Excuse me, $44,130.
yes,
And we took off the $3,000, which brought it to 41,130. But divided by 2 because half of it's for,
The motion said the full designated 23,350 cents. Half of the equipment reserve fund and half of ARPA funds pending Eden's approval.
yeah, so half of it's gonna come from ARPA, half of that. Half of the 23,350 is gonna come, so like. Take the 23,350, half of that's gonna come from the equipment fund and half of it's gonna come from ARPA.
right,
Makes sense,
so
but
you divide it again.
if I take the 23,300.5 times 2, that equals 46,601, right? Am I not? Wouldn't that be Eden's share? So we're looking at a total of 46,601,
No,
no?
Automatically. take
Okay, you
3,000
divide
off that
41,130 by 2.
46.
yes.
Divided by 2.
Yeah, okay,
Oh, yeah.
and then divide that in
No,
half again.
right, it is wrong, okay, so wait a minute.
Oh,
So
yeah.
41,130 divided by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is wrong, yeah. It should be 20,565,
yeah, so,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Right.
So that's
That
what
makes
Hyde,
sense.
that's
Right,
what
yeah.
Hyde Park owes, and then you divide that in half again, and you get half from the fund and half.
And then divide that
off.
by 2.
Right.
So 10,282.50 from each of the funds, right? Is that what you're getting, Justin?
he wasn't sure what to do.
So 10,282.50.
From each
From
of
each
the
one.
funds.
Yep,
each
so the
fund,
total
Correct,
Hyde Park share is 20,565.
Correct.
correct.
Should we specify that as a new?
Separate point.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you wanna specify that again, Nicole, and we'll
Yeah,
put it in the minutes tonight?
so I just have to make the motion to.
To
Amend that?
Yeah.
So I make the motion to amend our half of the equipment for the North Hyde Park Eden Rescue to 20,565. Half coming from the equipment reserve fund and half coming from our.
A second.
Second it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain. Perfect.
That was second by
Me, Susan. Jan, did we get everything for you? I think we did.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
gonna sign off if that's okay.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Have a nice night.
You
You
too. Okay. Yeah. You guys want to table? You're not even gonna talk to us?
Well, thank you for this. I came to listen about North Hyde Park stuff.
Ah, gotcha.
Comments?
I know, right?
Sorry, the wastewater thing only got one respondent.
That was a good opportunity for Hyde Park.
Yeah, and now it's coming again in the next 4 or 5 years.
You never know, but.
Was also, I had heard the FEMA,
Did you see your sign?
I have seen it, yeah, I was at the meetings, yeah. Yeah, the FEMA buyout was something I was interested to, I heard. Rumors going out there about that, so. Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh, thank you. You too.
We did forget one though.
Could I ask the question?
Absolutely.
There's something on there on the agenda about properties.
Oh, FEMA buyout discussion.
Yeah, I was talking to him undercover while you were going through your. There is, if you look, I did pass out a property, of course, you know, we're not the only ones. It's similar to the FEMA buyout that we're doing in North Hyde Park, except this is offered to everybody, you know, in the nation that's having issues like that. Either FEMA will assist in you raising your home above floodplain elevation or a buyout. Learn is one of the disaster survivor support groups from United Way. They've reached out to everybody. I think I also sent it for his newsletter to be put in there to outreach if people are in that area. And if you look at, let me get the correct address so I'm not messing it up here. It is the 19 River Run Drive in Hyde Park. All of a sudden, a gentleman came to me, gave me the paperwork. He said, yes, these people from United Way gave me the paperwork. It needs to be approved by the select board. I got a hold of Sarah Hinshaw, which did verify that she did assist, or her office did assist this couple in the paperwork through FEMA. Bottom line is, it's the same thing in a sense like what we're doing with Hyde Park. The property, if y'all do approve us moving with the process, it'll be similar to the process in North Hyde Park. And then it'll be deeded to the town and we utilize it as a green space since it is in a floodplain. If you looked at the map, that wouldn't be too bad of a gathering place or create a park or a social gathering area since it's right by the river. Unfortunately, a lot of communities are starting to see these lower floodplains and becoming green spaces to assist in flooding, and it you know recedes, and then they continue using it as a green space. And I don't know exactly how much of the taxes the town would lose off that. Of course, I missed that step in looking at that, and then when you're here, I just think of that. But you know, that's up to y'all if you want to allow this individual to move forward with the process. Like I said, the packet was given to me. We talked about it for a couple of minutes. I reached out to Sarah with Learn, and then just wanted to present it to both of y'all to see what y'all thought about it.
I didn't look at it, so what is it?
Learn or the pack or the
No,
property.
What's the property? Is it just property? Is it a house? Is it a garage?
It's property. And I had Stephen look at it with me when we went out there. It's lot number 9 there. And I thought I'd attach that with the packet. So instead of updating or spending a ton of money, I think the resident just he's done and he wants to sell it. Of course, there is that chance, like if you read my town administrator report, he might not be satisfied with the appraisal that he'll get on it, but you know, that's his choice.
What's the address?
River Road, 19 River Run Drive.
So is it,
It's lot 9.
so it's the whole lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you can verify.
Yep.
Thank you.
So it's more or less that that FEMA is out there offering to buy out properties.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing that, unfortunately, you know, just to get out of the plight they're in. They've already had to spend a large amount of money doing it, and FEMA is giving that option to everybody.
So how does that apply to the two properties up there by 100 Sea Bridge?
We're already moving.
It's
Those
the
are-
process
we're-
is similar
Yeah,
wise.
But what's the status of them? Are they?
we applied for grants for those.
Yes.
A while ago, right?
Yes, and we're just now, and if, let me pull out my notes, because I did bring that up.
Yeah, we've approved all that stuff, I'm thinking. Yeah.
On this property, for 19 River Run. The assessed value for the town is 247,400. The total tax this year prior to any state payments, etc., is $7,476.16.
How much of that's town?
Oh, right.
Oh, good point. 2,374.77. Plus local agreement of $11.62.
James,
So it must be these flooding.
James 9, was he one of those properties in North Hyde
I
Park?
don't know, I don't.
Yes, if you want me to read about that, I can real quick.
One of them is the mark.
Yeah,
The documentation has started, and appraised value validation has been completed for these properties. Mr. Nine is satisfied with his appraisal and has agreed to proceed with the buyout program. He is reviewing the documents with his attorney and should be ready, that property should be ready to be closed by the end of the month. Lawrence Delmar was not satisfied with his appraised value of his property. We did not hear from him for extended period of time. That's including myself trying to call him and Stephen reaching out to him. Myself, Jen, and Stephen had a talk about it. I moved forward and wrote a letter to him, a certified letter saying, you know, there is another option. You can appeal the FEMA process. They do have a process that you can appeal it, but the appraisal, that appraisal has to come out of your pocket. The first one we paid for, if you wanted to appeal it and get a better appraisal, he would have to pay for that and move forward. No matter what, with the first appraisal, that FEMA in their laws and regulations, they will not negotiate price. Whatever it is appraised at, that's the check you'll get. And I gave him this, it was 3 weeks before the 4th of July holiday. I gave him till the 7th of July to come to reach out to me. If we did not hear anything back to him, then we would just assume that he has no longer want to be with the buyout program. We didn't hear anything, so that as of right now, that's my assumption. He has a lost interest into the buyout program through FEMA. But that doesn't help us moving forward with the buyout program with the other property. So we were concerned it was all or not. And that's why me and Stephen got with the FEMA representative. They go, no, you know, that won't mess us up because, you know, we didn't.
So is there any chance in the foreseeable future that the Mars property would be completely erased from the face of the earth?
Unfortunately, there was a lot of conditions for him because we told him on numerous occasions, you know, we're getting you out of a bad situation here with the state and ordinance and policy and everything else. And, you know, we would assume that he would at least move forward with us in cooperation. Unfortunately, I can't hold the dogs anymore, unfortunately, so to speak, and I don't mean that crudely, but, you know, with
There's so many missed signatures.
with a disarray in his property and the state having issues with that, you know, that will be addressed at a certain point.
Okay. All right, and the welcome sign, what about the cost of that, at this point, anybody have an idea?
yeah.
$4,800.
So, yeah.
Well, so there's different ones. This was 7905, 57. Here, you can just take it with you. There are different options. So these are all the quotes. No, yeah.
All right, well, I'll go on there. Here you go. Thank you all.
Hey, thank you, sir. Come again. Kevin, here's your. Oh.
But with that one property, the select board does need to vote to either. Approve to allow this property owner to do it or to not approve the process. So we have it on the minutes and I have to attach the minutes with.
For a $2,000 detriment to the town, I think a constituent who wants to overturn this. And he is on the river. It actually is a very, very good community spot.
Yeah.
It's very local to both our schools.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is ample opportunity for quality to be allowed grants, but we just have to remember. There are certain restrictions on what we can and what we can't build on a green space.
Correct.
Right.
We could allow our track teams to use it for their.
True.
workout,
Yeah,
Things like that.
yeah.
Yes, picnic tables, veranda.
Yeah.
No major buildings can be put on.
Right.
Restrooms can be put on there.
It's used as ag now. The town could continue to allow the local farm to use it as ag.
I would assume so.
I would assume that they wouldn't be able to apply for damaged crop though.
No,
Correct.
nor would we be allowed to claim damages
Yeah.
if there's another
Yeah.
flood.
Which,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not gonna keep buying the property.
We buy you out.
Yeah, we buy you out.
that's my vote. I think for the $2,000 detriment, I don't think it's massive to our town and to allow a constituent to get out of his situation of what she's in.
We allow the FEMA buyout process, and that's how it needs to be stated. And name the property address.
I will
So moved.
make a motion for the Learn program for the property, what was it, lot 9? I would have to have it in front of me, the FEMA buyout on River Runner Drive.
What was it, 219?
19.
19.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, second. Second. All right, whatever. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained. Perfect. Okay, can we have a motion for the June 25th warrants? Which these we wanted to bring back, right? Because we didn't have that.
Yeah, they were signed by
Right.
two people and Matt after the fact, but no motion was made.
That's right.
And they're in this file?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the motion because we don't have it in writing. I don't think they're in that.
We didn't
writing.
have enough forum. Matt came down and signed.
No,
it.
yeah, we did, we made a motion, and I said, I'll be down to,
But it was after the meeting. We had closed the meeting.
and I said, I'll just be right down, yeah.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, I'll
So,
make the motion.
okay. Second,
I'll second that.
all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstained. I was gonna say, yeah. we're gonna need to abstain. Okay.
Who's abstaining?
Yeah, Susan.
Okay, and then the warrants for this evening.
The what, sorry?
Pay attention.
I actually ran out of ink. How often do you, one of these pens actually run out of ink? It's like,
I'll make the motion for tonight's.
Okay, second,
I'll second it.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay. Don't really have any select board updates other than for Jason, his injury. Have we heard any? I talked to him this afternoon, he was doing good, but
I texted him this morning, said
Yeah.
he seemed to be in good spirits about it.
yeah, he has an appointment Friday.
That's what happened.
They were working on some equipment and his finger got caught between a pinch point and cut off the tip of his pointer finger on his right.
Just trigger fingers, please, Mara. I'd love to get a finish.
He was brought to the emergency room.
Yes.
Yes.
They expect a recovery, but he's gonna have to go back in for an operation.
Yeah, to fix it because the neurosurgeon that they initially sent to him was on vacation, so he has to go to Barry. To the next deal. On a town note, we're all dressed with VOSHA and our insurance people, so all documentation has been submitted and waiting for any replies or updates or statements that they might need. So all that's done as well.
Perfect. Anybody else have anything? Okay. And minutes.
Oh,
One of the over expenditures was, I just reading back, like. Was obviously when we knew we were gonna be using Ron and we didn't know how we were gonna cover that, and I think that some of that was in some of that line item. I see that we're using Ron a lot less, so I just want that noted, I see the last one was a $52 charge.
Yeah.
I like that trend,
Yep. That was our
it's a,
hopeful trend.
right,
Yeah.
so I think. Going forward. Who is allowed to use Ron? Only him, right? That's the only contact.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's in the minutes as well as I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
and I don't know if anyone wanted to say anything about the planning commission meeting.
Oh, Nicole. She's
Put
speechless.
that on record.
Unfortunately, I wasn't here because I was dealing with the OSHA meeting concerning possible changes to our first responder fire safety could be hitting our budget as well. So I'm trying to stay on top of the rule and policy changes that they are putting into place. But this is all nationwide, just not including, and there's a lot of people in uproar about it. So.
You should be, it's right.
Yeah.
Where to get funding.
Just the fire departments alone, just the fire.
No, EMS,
Yeah, I know.
and if you're a police department that responds to fires, you're yes.
Wow.
Even EMS that responds to fires, it could touch there too, depending on,
It would,
like if it's a fire department that has their ambulance service, yes, it's going to touch them. Some small county EMS services that do respond to fires.
it would end almost every volunteer fire department, is what I was getting.
All
I think it would.
every
it would
fire
end
department.
Every single fire volunteer.
Yes,
There's not a budget for it. It would also,
Justify it, huh?
so sorry.
but they did say, that it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
They will work and they say OSHA understands the parameters of a little podunk place that just has one fire truck compared to like a Boston, New York and all
Right,
that.
that's
So
true,
they
because
do
they
understand the
said that
differences
No matter the miles of tires, they have to change them.
every 7
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
So that's not.
That's right.
Sorry, Nicole. Back to you.
That means.
So we gave you time to get your. loss together.
Right.
I did not understand a lot that was going on. There was a lot of talk about, just, yeah. It was just a lot of, just going over the manual thing and I just was lost, but. Yeah, very interesting. I will get myself
Acclimated.
acclimated,
When I first joined this group.
Well, I mean, do you feel you can ask questions or do you
I
feel?
can ask some questions.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't find out when I first did about vacation, but
Yeah.
I did ask a few questions, so yeah. It was fine. There was just a lot of stuff on like, energy stuff and just things like that. So just a lot of talking about how to make Hyde Park good. Yeah.
So one other, we're still an open mic.
Yeah.
the open meeting law, that was an email that came about, and so obviously I'm on our rec committee. We host meetings, we're still under the old rule, and that came, so in our meeting, I brought it up. And Erica, who's obviously very political and understands more than I do. She read that, it sounds like every committee right now, we have to be. Under
Yes.
recording,
No,
No.
it's only non-advisory boards. So like a select board, the development review board, board of trustees, library directors, board of listers, all the ones that can
Okay.
actually make decisions, they have to be recorded.
so for our committee base. What did it affect? We just have to announce it, right?
Yeah.
Just like we've been doing, and I think she sent everything to you from our rec committee, but just making sure we're following what we need to.
I haven't received any.
And I haven't
She
received
probably still
anything.
has Ron's email.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Oh, right.
I will tell her to forward that. Yeah. Okay,
and if I could ask that she forwards it to both of us so we can make sure it gets posted on the website or wherever it needs to go.
Yeah.
Yep, and to follow up with the planning commission a little bit, they discuss a new chapter each week. So last time was energy, next week, next month is going to be, I think, health and wellness more. And continues on. Previously, they discussed chapters 1, 2, and 3. What those were, I don't recall right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it was all like on that, so that's why I knew that, because you just did some big stuff. So, and I knew that going into it, that's why it was, so I mean, I did tell them. You know, about, they were talking about just how expensive it was for people to do projects to make, you know, buildings and homes. In the parameters of what the state wants people to do. So, and how, just how things were, and I brought up. That, you know, when we just did our renovations in the shelter, we did a lot. And we were able to bring that to like extreme. There's like a new, I don't know what it is, cause I don't know anything about stuff. There's like a scale level. Of something. And it's almost unheard of to get a renovation project down to like a, what we got it down to, like a 2 or a 3 or something, I don't know what it was, but. We did that, and it was like,
Did you get help financing it?
we got some, and you know, that's not gonna happen for the average person. And we know that, we got some, yeah, we got grants to help with that.
Yeah, but Efficiency Vermont certainly helps with.
They do, so
Lot
they're,
of
you know,
stuff.
including in that stuff, in the policy, like, you know, Capstone has stuff that. Programs that help what we come from ours and stuff, and. There was something, they were talking about under Efficiency Vermont and how that was kind of a weird program to work with sometimes, but I can't remember the whole
Yeah.
topic.
They mentioned,
Yeah.
they don't want to use Efficiency Vermont, well, they don't want to endorse it, they want to use it. And let people know that's out there, but they don't want to be in a position where the towns are trying to endorse outside programs.
There was, yeah, I was gonna say there was a whole discussion on that. Yeah. But I couldn't remember the specifics about behind it,
And one thing they said too was to do 4 miles of distribution lines, it's $5 to $6 million.
Yeah, that was another big topic, was getting something about the electricity. And like upgrading the electric in town and like this whole big thing, and it was.
Yeah.
Big numbers and lots of stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Was anything talked about solar panels?
I was gonna
That
say
was
that's what it
another,
was.
because that was another one, and our grid can't handle it.
Okay, cause I know my friends wanna do it and they
It
can't.
it can't handle it, and just the just. The guy from the electric department, I don't know his name, he was there and he said that cause we were gonna originally put solar panels on the shelter.
That's not Marshall?
No,
Oh,
we're Hyde Park.
I'm Marshall.
Yeah, no, we're Hyde Park.
Change after me.
So we couldn't do it either. So, yeah, and he was talking about what it would cost to just upgrade the smallest amount of, to be able to do it. And it was ridiculous amounts of number of, that it was astronomical.
You're talking about solar for update.
To update our grid to be able to handle more solar power on our
lines.
lines.
That's the problem in this country.
They can't-
The grid is
can't
not
handle it.
behind it.
Right.
Again,
I
that's
know.
all business.
If you drive by my house, I did what she's talking about, so like if you drive by my house, you'll see the 3 different wires, so I had to upgrade to MCM, 350 MCM or 500 MCM.
So you had to pay for that yourself because you.
Yeah,
It's. Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So do
But
you,
you could battery it. You could store it.
do we want to approve the 6:25 minutes with the amendment that we made? Yeah. How you wanna initially
Yes.
do that?
Motion to approve as amended. Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve this 6:25 minutes with the amendment to the fire department purchase.
Second.
All of in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstain. Susan's abstaining. And then 7:3. Minutes.
What was the
I missed that one. I totally missed it because of work and I meant to be here and I failed.
You failed us, Matt.
I did, actually, I
You
got,
failed to reply to my text too.
I
Ooh.
think I did.
Text you about something. I don't remember what.
And I was literally in Miranda goes, do you have a select board meeting? And I looked at it, it was 6:45. I was like, I had a select board meeting. Right. If I don't put it in my calendar and I set the
It
reminder.
was a
and
10-minute meeting.
Yeah.
No, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Okay, second. Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain.
Saying.
Okay. Speed limit still
Waiting
staying,
for the transfer.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the transfer confirmation. That's it.
as long as it's still in the works, that
Yes, it
makes
is.
me happy.
Same
Okay.
as your outlook.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else,
Early.
right? Motion to adjourn? Yeah, move, yeah. Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
I get another week out of it.